Hello, everyone, and welcome to Talk About It Tuesday with This is Improv. My name is Angelica, and today we have a very, very, very special guest. It's Mayor Judy Paul from Davie. Hi, Judy. How are you doing?
Hi, I'm doing fine. Everything's great out here in horse country.
That's good to hear. I like your background.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's our future farm park, which is going to be an educational center and adults about our agricultural roots and our heritage. And it'll have a farmer's market and community gardens. So it's going to be very exciting. Governor Leroy Collins Farm Park.
Oh, that's really nice.
That's the official title. He was governor of Florida a number of years ago. He did a great deal for moving the state along in the area of civil rights.
That's really nice. And that's something that's incredible about Davie as well. We have so much history here, and so people don't know about it. And we have resources now like that farm park that's going to teach people what we're about as well and go back to the agricultural roots. And that's so cool. I'm really excited about that.
And that's what drew me to Davie originally. I ride horses. I have had many horses over the years. And I came to Davie in 1974. And in February 1st of 74, I purchased a 4-year-old Appaloosa mare by the name of Tanya. And later that month, or a couple of days after I bought her, they said, "Oh, did you ever Orange Blossom Festival? We're going to go ride in the festival." Why not? So came the day of the parade, saddled up, rode down Griffin Road. The barn was on 82nd Avenue, just off of Griffin Road. And I rode down Griffin Road because it was only a 2-lane road, and nothing but horses and cows and pickup trucks. And rode down to Davie Road and was in my first Orange Blossom Parade. And in one way, form, or shape, I've been involved in Orange Blossom ever since. And unfortunately this year, because of COVID, we're not going to be having the parade or the celebration. But, the only other time there was no Orange Blossom Parade was during World War II.
Oh, wow.
We were fighting the war. So like I explained to everybody, we're still fighting a war. We're going to miss Orange Blossom this year because we're fighting the war against COVID. And when we win this war, we'll be back with gusto. So.
Yeah, definitely. And it's so crazy to imagine what Davie was, and hearing you talk about just 2-lane roads and to see what it's growing into now. It's really incredible.
Yeah, well, that's been my greatest challenge, is trying to keep a balance between smart growth and all the old timers don't think it's too smart, but you can't get away from major highways transversing our community, and development is going up around us. The value of the land keeps increasing, and a lot of the farmers actually sold their land to developers and moved north. You can't deny somebody that owns property the right to develop. So it's been very, very difficult trying to keep that development in check, and also to keep our equestrian community alive and well.
Yeah, and I think that you've done an amazing job. The town halls and just here allow for green land in these parks, and parks that people really enjoy. In college, a lot of my friends, that was one of the draws to Davie, to hang out in Davie, the parks. So thank you. Thank you for keeping it green.
But I know you wanted to talk to me about background in theater, but it's interesting because theater was a great part of my life. And in a way, as the mayor, I'm still entertaining. I'm still on the stage. And it's funny, I get together with my staff to do videos, and I've gotten the moniker of One Take Judy. So I said, look, we're going to do it. I'm going to ad lib, and it'll be one take. And usually stick to that. And then it's like, all right, Mr. DeMille, I'm ready for my close-up now.
That must make the social media department very happy. So let's go back. Let's talk about your theater background. How did you get started in theater? Where did it begin for you?
Well, my father was a director and a producer of a number of small theater groups. And I guess he instilled that in me. He was a marvelous voice. I mean, he was a great actor. He was a violinist. He was a dancer. He did everything. And
Wow.
I'm happy to know that he imparted so much of him in me, and I've been able to carry on that kind of a life. So from early years, I was in his theater group,
Mhm.
and I used to get parts in the plays, or I was in the chorus line.
Uh-huh.
And you know, I always wanted to be the ingenue, but I was always the character player.
Really?
I was the Wicked Witch in The Wizard of Oz. I was the aunt in Oklahoma.
Uh-huh.
I did Ado Annie. You know, it was fun to do those kind of parts and to kind of spread my wings a little bit. And then I went on. I was kind of young, and I don't remember exactly the years, but my parents enrolled me in the Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City. And
wow.
I used to, and to think of doing it now as a young child, I mean, I was 12, 13 years old.
Oh,
I
wow.
lived in Teaneck, New Jersey.
Uh-huh.
I get on the bus, drive for 40 minutes to the Port Authority in New York, and then walk from the Port Authority to 52nd Street to the theater district to have my classes in the theater. And
That's commitment.
it was a marvelous experience. As a matter of fact, I still have my little certificate saying that I was a graduate of the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. And you know, so I did a lot of different, you know, amateur groups here and there. Then I got involved as an apprentice at a off Broadway. It was in Fort Lee, New Jersey, and it was in the Fort Lee Theater. And the wonderful gentleman who was the producer and the CEO of the theater was Robert Ludlum,
Okay.
and that's a name that should ring a bell. And when his first book came out, and I looked at it and I said, "Is this my Robert Ludlum?" And so I read the book jacket, and sure enough, that's who it was. So I
Wow.
called him. He was in the islands. They had already purchased an island for him to work on his next book. So I couldn't talk to him directly, but I spoke to his wife, and she said, you know, it was just something he always wanted to do, and it was his new venture in life. And boy, what a venture that was. But
Yeah.
in the year and a half that I apprenticed with him, we considered it off Broadway, and I was in a couple of shows. And as an apprentice, you have to do a little something in every area. So for one show, I was props. For one show, I was lighting. For another show, I was sound effects or costuming. So this way, you got a feeling for everything. I can remember even like for opening night, I'd wear a gown and I'd be a receptionist showing people to their seats. And so it was kind of fun and exciting. And I did realize how important it was to look back at it after it had happened. But I was still growing, as a matter of fact, in my theatrical interest. And so then I went off to college. I went to Miami in Ohio.
Uh-huh.
And they were putting on a show. And my minor was theater.
Okay.
And they were putting on a show. So I decided to apply as the position of assistant director.
Uh-huh.
And I went into it, and he said to me, they have never, ever had a freshman as an assistant director. So forget about it. It's never going to happen.
Oh.
Well, they looked at my resume and saw my background was I became the first freshman in the history of the school to become an assistant director of the all-campus musical.
You blew them away.
Yeah. And we did the Pajama Game. And it was just so natural. the most important part of it was, to me, was as a freshman, I had to run to the campus. I didn't have a curfew. Everybody else had to be in at 9 o'clock. I didn't come in until 10, 11.
Really?
And so I had special privileges, and of course, everybody was jealous of me. But the show was a tremendous success. I loved it, and then I used it later on as a kickoff to some other things that I did. What happened in the interim, I decided that I didn't think that the theater was going to be a great way for me to make a living. That it was going to be a lot of hard work. I mean, which I didn't mind. I had spent a lot of time doing it. I had other things to consider. So I decided to major in education and social studies. I'm a great lover of history. So I became a social studies teacher. And it's funny, my students always said, "Why did you give up theater?" I said, "I didn't. I perform for you every day." I said, "Are you part of my classes?" They said, "No." Because I'd have them do all kinds of things. I'd have them write skits to do, with famous people in history. They'd have to dress up as somebody famous and come in and give a little speech. And then everybody would have to try to guess who they were.
Yeah.
And, so I always tied in my experiences with the theater and teaching. And I think that's why I still speak to some of my students from back in the 60s. I've stayed in touch with them. I know their families and now their grandchildren. And teaching was a very exciting thing for me. And to me, teaching was an extension of my theatrical experience. And now too, being the mayor of the Town of Davie, the theater and the show must go on. I've had a lot of time. Things will be tough, and we're getting ready to get into the council chambers, and I'll try to be gathering everybody. I'll say, "Come on, folks, it's stage time."
Davie managing them, yeah.
So, and a lot of times something would come up, and I say, "No, I'm fine. The show must go on." It continues even to this day. But it's interesting because before I came to Davie, I lived in Pembroke Pines, and I was going through my old news cuttings, a couple of weeks ago, and I came across, I almost had forgotten about it. I had a theatrical group through the Pembroke Pines Recreation Department.
Oh, wow.
Back in the, was it 70s, 80s? And we did a couple of one-act plays, and in one of them, we did a variety show. And one of the numbers was Steam Heat from Drama Game. And I taught them the routine that had been done then. Cool. And they did it. And I used that. I had a number of years as the drama coach there in their recreation department. And so when I came to Davie and I was elected, I thought it was very important to have some sort of a theatrical group. And that was one of the first things I tried to do. And that's how Actors Community Theater came into being in Davie, is through my encouragement and my search. And then we added a children's component, and we had the greatest couple, the Roaches, who were fabulous and working with the students. And then they decided to retire and move to the West Coast. And then, of course, we got looking for a replacement, and then we got COVID. So I'm hoping once we get through this pandemic and we start to venture out a little more, that I can get the children's theater getting up and going again. Now, Town Hall is moved over to the Pine Island Multipurpose Center because that's going to be our new home while we're building a new town hall on the existing site. And that's where the Actors Community Theater met. But in the meantime, Young at Art, the museum, closed, and the county has taken it over. And just at yesterday's commission meeting, they agreed to continue it as a cultural venue, which we felt was very, very important for Western. And it would include a stage with a couple of hundred seats and have a small venue, which I was thrilled about, because hopefully it'll be a place where the Actors Community Theater can continue to work and have their place to do their shows. And I'm sure I saw your eyes light up when you heard that. And it would be open to different groups, having board meetings and inviting people to come the Young at Art site. I don't know what it's going to be called, Broward County Cultural Center, whatever the name is going to be. But I was very proud of Commissioner Geller, because it's his district and he was pushing very hard for it. And I wrote a letter in support, and it was agreed upon unanimously at yesterday's commission meeting to keep it as a cultural center. And he said, all the cultural activities are in the East. It's important for some of them to come out to the West. And he kind of saw it as a carryover from the Museum of Discovery and Art Serve and a few other exciting.
Yeah, very exciting.
Very exciting.
Very exciting.
I'm looking forward to that. Hope that works out. In Hialeah at Filer Junior High School. And I did a lot of drama things there as well. I can remember they said, we're going to have a carnival and we'd like the teachers involved. And, the teacher said, all right, I'll be a chaperone, or I'll do this. I said, wait, I will bring the great Paulini to your festival. And I dressed up as a gypsy, little scarf over it, and I read fortunes. And I just had a ball.
So much fun.
It was so much fun. And so no matter what I do, wherever I am, I'm very.
You make it theater.
Yeah, I make it theater. And it's always been important to me when working with students. If you make it exciting and you make it interesting, they're going to learn. You make them, it's an interactive moment of joy. That's how we learn.
Yeah, through play, through interaction. Yes, it's so incredible to hear how all of these things that you learned while you were in school, while you were learning theater, has helped you not only excel in what you do as a teacher and in the town, but you've developed things that are life-changing. Like for the kids that you taught and had them go through these skits and act out these historical and get into the role and feel what they must have felt, at least to a small degree, that's life-changing. And it's so cool to hear that there are teachers like that. And
I think it's important, I just thought of something else. When I had my classes with the students before we even got into any productions and we had different groups, some of the first things that I did with them was improv. And because I felt it was so important, because to loosen them up, to make them feel more comfortable. And, so that was very much a part of my classes when I was teaching, especially over in Pembroke Pines. So sometimes I used it in the classroom too, but they didn't realize what they were doing.
It's a secret. We're just playing. It's no big deal. And not only did you help these kids with these theatrical techniques, you developed these centers for people to get together and connect through their love of theater. And you obviously were able to experience it again, but in doing so, you helped so many other people experience the same joy and the same hard work and work ethic. And it's just so cool, because I didn't know how these things came to be. We see the advertisements for the ACT theater pop up, and we hear about it, but we don't know how these things started. And it's so cool to hear why it came to be and why you did this, and it makes it so much bigger and grander. So thank you.
And the value of the arts is so important. And it always hurt me in education when they were saying you're going to cut out this arts program or that arts program. And it just is so important for the development of the infant. Some of the children that get involved, whether it's no matter what it is in the field of the arts, whether it's music or acting or painting or whatever the case. It's so much a part of the individual's growth, and it makes them a rounded human being. I can't imagine a world without the arts or animals.
Definitely. Who can live without animals?
The two A's, animals.
Yeah. I love that. And what do you think was your favorite technique or thing that you did in theater that really transferred over to what you do now? Like what concept did you bring over to your everyday life, which obviously it's affected every aspect?
Yeah, I guess it's my presentation,
Uh-huh.
how I hold myself, how I present myself to the public or to my viewing public. But I think that's very important because of the self-worth that it gives you, the feeling that you're not only doing something that you love, that raises the interest and the excitement of other people. You know, a lot of times people live vicariously through other people. We do that on many different levels. And I think that my father's influence, my love for the theater, my love for people, and you know, I'm a hugger. COVID has done me in because I'm a hugger.
Yeah.
And I know. And you know, it helped to make me I think, a well-rounded individual. And it's brought me in contact with so many from all walks of life. And I feel secure. You know, when you feel secure in your own self, because you have to walk out on the stage, whether it's a theatrical stage or the stage of life, or the Davie Town Council stage, no matter where you're moving, self-worth, that feeling that you have, that I have something important to say, that I am important, and that I can transfer some of my life learning, some of my lessons of life to other people. It's what's important. And that's why, as a mayor, I work so closely with a lot of children's groups, with the schools, with the scouts. If a student sends me an email that they would like to interview me for some reason, or they want me to be involved in a concept they're talking about, I got some students now that have come up with an invention that they want to share with me. And another student that came to see me about, he wants to spread the concept of butterfly gardens. But, you know, this is where it all comes from. I mean, if I can influence the life of a few students, that's all that matters, because they're the future. That's what's going to bring us to a glorious future as the young people. And I know I always give them deference. I do a mayor's scholarship, and every year I give 2 or 3 $500 scholarships to seniors who are thinking of going into some sort of public service.
That's
and
great.
The applications that I get, the process. I help to create youth and education advisory board to give our students a voice, and that board gives money to different schools, projects that they apply for grants. So, you know, students are very, very much a part. I even started a public affairs academy in Davie, where seniors, juniors, and seniors can come and actually intern over a course of about 7 months.
Oh, wow.
And they get to learn about the actual workings of government. And when I set this up and I spoke to staff, I said, look, I don't want these kids coming in and having them file papers or different things like this. These are students that are going on to very prestigious colleges that have great resumes, and I want them to the nuts and bolts. I want you to give them an opportunity to get involved. So when I have them in my office, I'd lay out a site plan. I say, okay, let's find out what this is all about, and what we can do to make it better. And I'd actually engage them in things. So wherever students are involved, wherever they ask me, I would meet with them before I'd meet with a developer.
That's incredible to give them that opportunity. That's huge.
And how long did it take me to say yes to your invitation?
But it was very, very fast, very fast. I was surprised. I was like, whoa, I got a reply. So thank you.
You come from a good family.
Oh, thank you.
Strong background. Thank
you so much. And Judy, before we wrap up, we have a tradition on this format, on Talk About It Tuesday, where we ask that you tell us something about yourself that we wouldn't know just by looking at you. And we've learned a lot about you today. I've learned so much about you today. But what would be a fun fact about you?
Oh boy. Well, everybody knows I ride horses, so that wouldn't be anything new. I used to play the violin.
Oh, another thing. Wow.
I tried my hand at it. And my father was a fantastic violinist. Could make a violin talk. It was amazing. And so I decided
incredible.
I was going to play the violin. I didn't get too much past Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. I couldn't stand to hear myself play. But I did try my hand at that. I tried piano. So I've tinkled a little bit in a lot of areas. But not many people know that I actually was in a concert where I got far enough along in my violin that I was able to play a school concert. Of course, I wasn't first one. They didn't want me there. But I was in a concert.
Thank you so much, Mayor Paul. Thank you so much for joining us on Talk About It Tuesday. It has been incredible learning not only about what you've done, but what you're doing currently and the new things that are coming up for Davie. It's really exciting. It's really, really exciting.
Well, thank you for inviting me. And I always enjoy talking about the theater, and it's a part of my life that's is still with me and has a warm spot in my heart. And I know the last time I was in New York before COVID, I was in Brooklyn conference, and then I met a friend in New York. And in 3 days, we went to 4 shows. I mean, that was the most thing that I missed about New York, is because when I lived in New Jersey, I was a stone's throw from the city.
Yeah.
And my cousin, who lives in New York today, was a great producer. In fact, that a lot of people don't know. My cousin,
a producer,
was his clients and good friends were Richard Burton and Elizabeth Taylor, and he orchestrated the entire opening and hoopla in New York for the opening of Cleopatra.
Cleopatra?
Yes. And the stories he tells me, he does a one-man show called Name Droppers. And he talks about all the people that he worked with years and his impression of them and things that they said to him. And I can remember the one story he told about Elizabeth Taylor was that she asked him to escort her to an event. Mm-hmm. I was thinking, date with Elizabeth Taylor. And she always relied on him to help some of her appointments and. But his name is David Rothenberg, and I can remember when I was younger and I lived in New Jersey, I must have seen every single Broadway show over a 2 or 3 year period. Some shows I saw 2 or 3 times, because he was able to get me tickets shows when they were like semi-rehearsals or
you had
so I was always like first, second row, and so I can remember my first show that my parents took me to, I think, was South Pacific with Mary Martin and Ezio Pinza. It's my first memory of a Broadway show. Wow. So, and I go back a ways.
It's incredible.
I think David's got a YouTube named Droppers videos. We did one just this year.
Okay.
that was on. I think it's on Zoom, and it might be on YouTube. But you might try to look for it.
Thank you for joining me again, and thank you for everyone tuning in to watch this Talk About It Tuesday with Mayor Judy Paul. I hope that you have a wonderful day, wonderful rest of your week. Please take some time to subscribe to our channel so you get to watch more amazing interviews just like this one and learn more about the arts and about the community like we did today. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great day. Goodbye.
Thank you very much. Bye.